Coming up on BCN today. Protesters who broke into a turkey farm appear in a Fort Macleod court for the first time. Plus, a Southern Alberta woman is banned from owning dogs for the rest of her life. We tell you why. And Parliament resumes for the first time today since the federal election.
Your Canada. Your Southern Alberta. Your stories. From our studios in the heart of Lethbridge, it's BCN Today with Jeanette Roche.
Hello and thanks for joining us. For the first time since the federal election, Parliament will resume today with a new government. The speech from the throne will be a chance for the Liberal minority government to garner much needed support from opposition parties. The speech is set to be delivered this afternoon by Governor General Julie Payette. It's expected to highlight Liberal commitments to stronger action to combat climate change, tax breaks for the middle class, pharmacare, and stricter gun control. Details will be filled in when Trudeau issues marching orders to each of his 36 cabinet ministers in mandate letters, which could be as early as tomorrow. It was day one in a Fort Macleod courthouse for 4 animal rights protesters who were objecting to factory farming at the Jumbo Valley Hutterite Turkey Farm. The Labor Day event was dubbed Liberation Lockdown. BCN's Loris Alexander was in Fort Macleod to tell us about what happened in court.
I'm here in front of the Fort Macleod Provincial Court where the 4 charged in the turkey farm protest appeared in court this morning. They include 46-year-old Maxwell Mingma, 28-year-old Claire Buchanan, 24-year-old Kennedy Herberts, and a 16-year-old girl from Calgary. They each face 1 count of break and enter to commit mischief. The protesters stood together with signs today just showing that they wanted compassion and justice for the animals.
Me and a few other people came for our first court date. It has been adjourned to January 8th, so we do not have a resolution as of right now. Luckily, what did get resolved today is my bail was taken off, so I'm allowed to go back to the Alice Sanctuary where I volunteer at.
We're all pretty excited to be here today because it gives us a huge platform to talk about the animals, which are the true victims here. I know a lot of the focus has been on the farmers and how we trespass and everything, but they're not the victims, the animals are.
The 4 are scheduled to reappear in court on January 8th.
Thank you, Loris. A Southern Alberta woman who was charged with causing distress to more than 200 dogs in her care has been prohibited from owning dogs for the rest of her life. April Irving had the dogs seized from her Milk River property in December 2014 and January 2015. Judge Derek Redman issued the ban yesterday in Lethbridge Provincial Court and fined the 59-year-old woman more than $15,000. Irving had earlier pled guilty to offenses under Alberta's Animal Protection Act, but doesn't have to pay the fine because she spent time in pre-trial custody. The dog owning ban only applies to Alberta, by the way. Crown Prosecutor Tyler Raymond says it was one of the most comprehensive animal distress cases in Canada's history. The drug crisis continues in many towns and cities across Alberta. The interim police chief for Lethbridge, Scott Woods, stopped by our studio recently. He says the problem is not just opioids.
There's a drug crisis through Alberta. I would suggest in the prairies, methamphetamine, I would suggest, is the biggest issue right now. And that's not to speak down upon the opioid issue. The opioid issue is a serious issue, but the difference between that and the meth is some of the more erratic behaviors we're seeing. So I think it's touching the prairie provinces in particular right now in a pretty impactful way.
Chief Woods will have more on the drug and crime issues in Lethbridge coming up in the second half of our show. The province has announced that it will be adding 500 RCMP positions in rural communities to help combat crime. The UCP government says the new police funding model will inject more than $286 million over the next 5 years into frontline law enforcement. The new cost-sharing program will be split, with the province paying for 70% and Ottawa the remaining 30%. Justice Minister Doug Schweitzer says ensuring Albertans are safe, secure, and protected in their communities goes to the heart of who we are as a government. Some of the new members being added will be tasked with dismantling organized crime and drug trafficking in many areas of the province. There's finally some good news for Canada's energy sector. The federal government has announced that construction will begin on the Trans Mountain Pipeline expansion, with pipe going into the ground by Christmas. Federal Natural Resources Minister Seamus O'Regan says the expansion will nearly triple the 300,000 barrel per day capacity of the existing pipeline. The pipeline will take up to 36 months to build. It will carry crude oil and refined products from Edmonton to a terminal in Burnaby, British Columbia. The YMCA of Lethbridge has received another generous donation from Corvan Ray. This time it's a gift of $100,000. The money will go towards the Strong Kids Fund, a YMCA program that helps subsidize local families who want to become members.
So a big challenge for us has been the increase in the amount of requests we've had for assistance. So at the old YMCA, we assisted about 90 families. We're now assisting over 950 families. So we're looking at a fairly significant increase. CORE heard that we had a significant increase, heard that there might be some challenges with meeting the demand at the speed in which it was coming, and decided that he would provide some financial support in order to allow those families that want to have assisted or access to assistance the ability to do so.
The Corvan Ray YMCA opened on the west side of Lethbridge earlier this year. Families looking for support can visit the YMCA's membership services desk to learn about different options available. The YWCA in Lethbridge has a special campaign each year called the Stockings of Hope. It helps women in crisis experience some of the joy the Christmas season offers by providing them with various personal items and gifts.
Pajamas, toiletries, Lego, that one's always a hugely popular one, dinosaurs, cars, and clothes. So the usual, what most people want. Our stockings do include the parents as well, and we do have quite a few grandparents who are raising their grandchildren as well, so there are stockings for those individuals as well. This year we just did our last submission, and we are just over 240 stockings that we're looking forward to be filled this year, and just a wonderful opportunity for those who are in any of our programming to be able to have a little happier of a Christmas holiday.
The Stockings of Hope will be available for adoption in the YWCA lobby beginning on Friday. Unwrapped gifts are asked to be delivered by December 16th. Thanks to generous donations, last year the YWCA was able to bring Christmas cheer to over 185 women and their families. This time of year can be hard financially on families, but one campaign is stepping things up. My City Care is kicking off their 4th annual Shop of Wonders on Monday.
This is our 4th year for Shop of Wonders now, and for Shop of Wonders we help families in need. It varies year to year. Sometimes it's people that are lower income, sometimes it's people that are just going through a hard time. So we try to help them out in any way that we can. Shop of Wonders is in real need of teen gifts, so we need anything for ages 14 and up. We need everything from sports equipment. We do footballs, t-shirts, clothing, makeup for the girls. We do bath stuff, lots of games. Pretty much anything your teenager would like, there's going to be another teen that would like that too. Just to know that there's kids in Lethbridge that are having a great, amazing Christmas morning. That's why we all are here, and that's why we do it.
Donations are being accepted at the former Long and McQuaid building at 918 First Avenue South, or at the My City Care office at 511 Fifth Avenue South. The city of Lethbridge is getting into the Christmas spirit with the sounds of the season. From now until December 20th, you can enjoy free Christmas concerts taking place at City Hall. Mayor Chris Spearman says it's a wonderful way to brighten up City Hall for those who stop by to pay their bills.
It's important to have Christmas music, and we want to celebrate the season. We want people coming in to do their daily business to feel the spirit of Christmas and of giving. Of course, we have opportunities here as well. People can make donations of food and toys, but basically celebrating the Christmas season and getting people in the spirit of Christmas.
City officials ask when you stop by for these sounds of the season, you also bring along a non-perishable food item and an unwrapped gift for a child in support of the Christmas Hope campaign. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau played down the candid comments he made about U.S. President Trump, saying the two leaders maintain a good relationship.
Last night I made a reference to the fact that there was an unscheduled press conference before my meeting with President Trump, and I was happy to take part of it, but it was certainly notable. And I've had a number of good conversations with the President over the course of this day and yesterday.
Trudeau announced that Canada will move to ensure more fighter jets and naval frigates are available for rapid deployment should NATO need them. Trudeau says Canada is committed to spending more on its defense.
Over the next 10 years, we are increasing our defense spending by 70%. I'm proud to say that in the last few years, Canada has not only re-engaged in NATO, but also taken on a leadership role in its efforts. We are leading NATO's defense of Europe's eastern flank in Latvia. We assumed command of NATO's training mission for Iraq for a second year. We deployed CF-18s to conduct surveillance in Europe and ships to monitor European waters. And we continue to stand strong with partners like Ukraine.
U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi has announced the drafting of articles of impeachment against President Trump, saying the president leaves them no choice but to act. The historic announcement was delivered as Democrats push toward a vote, possibly by Christmas. Trump is alleged to have abused the power of his office by engaging in bribery, by withholding military aid to Ukraine, and then obstructing Congress by stonewalling the investigation. Well, it looks like more of the dreaded white stuff could be back in the forecast for us. We've got about 30% chance of flurries is expected for today. Complete weather details are coming up after the break. Welcome back. Here's a look at our weather highlights. For Lethbridge today, we've got a 30% chance of flurries with a mix of sun and cloud, a high of 1 degree today, a low of -3 overnight, and into tomorrow we've got a high of 0 and lots of sunshine for us in the forecast. Looking ahead to our 5-day forecast on Saturday, we've got a lot of cloud coverage with a high of 3 degrees. We could see some flurries coming back in the forecast for Sunday with a high of only -12. The temperature is going to really dip down and then climb back up to -4 for Monday with lots of clouds. Lots of sunshine on Tuesday and Wednesday with highs of -3 and 1 degree. So a little bit of a dip and rise in temperature there. The average highs and lows this time of year, the almanac says the average high this time of year should be around 1 degree, the average low around -11. The high temperature on this day was in 1939, it was 18 degrees, and the low was -34, that was back in 1977. The sun rose this morning at 8:11 a.m. and will be setting this afternoon at 4:33 p.m. Every day getting about 2 minutes shorter than the previous day. Looking to the west coast, Victoria and Vancouver will see lots of rain today with highs of 7 degrees in Victoria, 6 degrees in Vancouver, high of -3 up in Edmonton with a mix of sun and cloud. Calgary could see a little bit of precipitation there today with also a high of -3. Saskatoon will see a high of -8 today with a mix of sun and cloud. Lots of clouds in Regina today, high of -5. Snow is expected today for Winnipeg, and their high is going to be only -4 degrees. Looking over to the east, lots of precipitation happening across the east here. Toronto will see chance of flurries and possible showers, high of 0, high of -1 in Ottawa, high of -1 also in Montreal, and both of those cities should be seeing some flurries today. Lots of precipitation happening through Atlantic Canada as well. Fredericton, high is 0. A high of 1 degree up in Charlottetown, a high of 3 degrees in Halifax. Halifax could see a mix of rain mixed with snow there. Lots of rain expected today in St. John's with a high of 9 degrees. That's your forecast. Here's what's happening in your community.
Here's your Bridge City News community calendar. Come for a beautiful and festive evening to the Lethbridge Christian Women's and Men's Choir's annual Christmas concert entitled Gloria in Excelsis Deo on Friday, December 6th at 7:30 p.m. at St. Andrew's Presbyterian Church. An annual City Hall tradition begins this week with the Sounds of the Season concert series. Enjoy your favorite holiday classics performed by various local choirs and bands during the weeks leading up to Christmas. Plus, take part in the Christmas Hope campaign by bringing unwrapped toys, gifts, and non-perishable food items. For more information and performance times, visit lethbridge.ca. Blankets for Canada Lethbridge meets Thursdays from 10 a.m. to noon at Southminster United Church. Share your knitting and crocheting skills to keep those who are in need in our community warm. Donations of yarn and financial gifts are greatly appreciated and can be dropped off at the church. For more information, visit blanketsforcanada.ca or call 403-329-6586. Make Christmas special for a child in need. Center Village Mall Toy Mountain is accepting donations of new, unwrapped toys until December 20th during mall hours. All toys will be distributed through the joint efforts of the Christmas Hope campaign. For details, visit christmashope.ca. Plus, come for the arrival of the big guy himself, Santa Claus, at Center Village Mall on Saturday, December 7th at 11 a.m. And that's your Bridge City News Community Calendar.
Storing your Christmas wrapping paper neatly can often be challenging. Today's daily life hack is here to the rescue. Here's how you store those long and bulky tubes. Use a garment bag. Place all the rolls side by side in the garment bag. Insert a coat hanger and you'll be able to hang it in any closet. You'll also find that your wrapping paper doesn't get as damaged as when it's stored, this way. There you go. That's your daily life hack. I'm going to try that. Engineering students at the University of Victoria are expanding the reach of a nonprofit program that provides low-cost 3D printed prosthetic hands to amputees. They're offering 3D printed braces for children with scoliosis. A U of Vic professor says a $1 million grant will help fit 200 amputees and 160 kids with back braces to treat scoliosis over the next few years.
What we want to do is provide services for remote communities in Canada and underserved populations in the U.S. We're actually trying to discuss which regions would best be served. In Canada, providing services up north is very challenging for a whole bunch of factors, including transportation. But we're pretty resourceful and we're going to try and figure out how to do that. Scoliosis is a congenital curvature of the spine and it affects 3 out of 100 kids. So out of those 3 per 100, 1/10 of them will actually require bracing to correct it. Some of them can undergo just rehabilitation through basically exercise, but basically 3 per 1,000 need braces. And surprisingly, the braces are not covered by Canadian healthcare. And in the US, if you don't have insurance, you're not covered either. So there's actually a huge need in Canada and the US for this.
A UK-based charity called Transform Europe Network launched an urgent appeal to help their partners working across Albania to provide vital supplies, that is, to the many families who lost everything following the 6.4 magnitude earthquake that rocked the country last week.
As Albania has been rocked by a devastating 6.4 magnitude earthquake that struck the city of Durrës and other areas last month, claiming more than 40 lives, churches are at the forefront of providing vital aid to the survivors. CEO of the UK-based charity Transform Europe Network, James Vorton, explains how they're supporting their partners on the ground in Albania, both in the long and short term.
We're helping one of our local partners at the moment supply needs that are to keep people warm with bedding, food and drink, but also tents where they're needed. The bigger need is going to be in the long term as the country gets back on its feet and has to rebuild, literally rebuild houses and community buildings and so on.
One of those key partners is Pastor Arian Cooney, who gave this update on his way to providing crucial supplies in one of the worst affected areas.
We're on our way to Lach, one of the affected areas, and we're going to meet with Pastor Alexander. He's running a place where he's cooking and feeding some of the people that are now without homes. Pastor Alexander asked if we could buy some mattresses, some sleeping bags, some covers, and so we just filled our car helpful thanks to some of our partners and especially Transform Europe Network, and we're heading over there and more to come.
Meanwhile, speaking through a translator, pastor of Christian Albanian Church Kos, Arben Badula explains how they're helping families in their community who've lost everything.
We helped these people që kanë qëndruar për një kohë të gjatë jashtë shtëpive të tyre. That had nowhere to stay during this time. Dhe akoma ata janë jashtë shtëpisë së tyre. And they're still outside as we're speaking right now. Ne kemi shpën ushqime për ta. We've given food. Kemi shpën rroba për ta. Clothes for them. Kemi qenë pranë tyre në një kohë dhimbje. And we've been with them in this time of pain. Dhe kemi dhënë aq sa kemi patur mundësi t'i japim. We gave what we could give.
Pastor Badula concluded by calling on Christians across the globe to pray for Albania this winter.
Pray for these people që kanë humbur të afërmit e tyre. That have lost their loved ones. Lutuni për nevojat e tyre. Pray for their needs. Që Zoti të bekojë zemrat që janë thyer. So that God may bless the hearts that have been broken. Dhe që bekimi I tij të ndodhet në familjet e tyre. And his blessing may be in these families.
Peter Wooding for the Global News Alliance.
The drug crisis rages on in Lethbridge, but what can our city do to combat the problem? Interim Police Chief Scott Woods sits down with Hal Roberts to give us his thoughts. That's coming up right after the break. Stay with us.